We can spend some time now going through the community office hours. This is our first event, so I guess not all the Encore team here is here as well, but we have some exciting announcements to have here. Let's get into it. So there are going to be some people that are watching this that have probably not used Encore before. Maybe you've come from Hacktoberfest, in which case, welcome. You might be new to coding. You might not be doing any coding related activities this month. I know Hacktoberfest this year is covering other things such as content writing and developer advocacy as well, but there's a whole bunch of things that you can definitely contribute to with Encore. But if you haven't used Encore before, it's a backend development framework written in Go, and it allows you to do many things, some new things that we'll also announce today as well. And yeah, you can also build front ends with it. We'll generate front end clients for you to be able to use with your Next.js or React or app. And yeah, there's lots of other great stuff as well. And we're going to also spend some time introducing the team as well behind all this magic. So yeah, Encore is pretty well known for having an amazing developer experience, and we're going to obviously improve on that. We're always going to be improving on that pretty much forever. So if you are new to this, it is essentially just 4 commands to get started with building your first app. And we do have loads of documentation for you to read as well. Be sure to check that out and give us some feedback, and jump on the community Slack and the community forums and let us know what you think. And also, Encore is partly open source, so it gives you a lot of opportunity for you to dive in, get those Hacktoberfest ideas, contribute, and PRs merged. You can /Encore, and you can have a look on the issues to see all the things that we need help with. And yeah, we can definitely help you get your changes merged and used by the entire Encore fan base. So this is the first session of the community office hours. We are going to be covering several things. Firstly, we're going to share updates from our side, what we've been up to over the last few weeks. We're going to be highlighting some community contributions, and we're going to have the opportunity for the community to ask us questions either through the week or any questions during this session. And the plan is, during October at least, is to have this session every week at this time. And then after October or Hacktoberfest, we'll revisit and see if there's a different time. But the goal is to have it fairly regularly. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I guess let's kick it off. Let's get started with introductions, and then we'll go through the updates, some shout outs, and then wrap up with some Q&A if anyone has any questions. So let's get started with introductions. So to kick it off, we have Andre.
Awesome. Yeah, great to meet you all. I'm Andre. I am the founder of Encore, and yeah, it's great to see so many people here today. We have been working on a bunch of different stuff, and yeah, and starting with maybe the least clear description of what I'm working on, but it's a whole bunch of things around documentation improvements, just doing a huge pass on wording and making sure it's all up to date. We're adding much more examples throughout the code base, throughout the documentation. We are actively adding new tutorials. So Bill added one last week, and I'm working on another one that's about to come out, which is going to be around uptime monitoring. So if you ever wanted to get notifications that something is down, soon we'll be able to show how you can build that really quickly with Encore. And then we're also going to expand on much more examples. And those are less about like fully fledged applications, but just like small examples that show how you can do something concrete with Encore. Whether it's something that's just demonstrating how you can use an ORM or Firebase for authentication, or a small sort of front end and back end together. That's an independent example that you can just use for inspiration in your own application. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Cool. Next up, Marcus.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Marcus. I'm Andre's co-founder here at Encore. I've been working on Encore for almost 2 years now, which has been a lot of fun. Over the course of those years, the focus has really been to build up the product, build up functionality, and make it useful in more and more use cases for whatever people are trying to build with it. And there's now so many bells and whistles and things you can do that it's getting to the point where it can be hard to know what is it for, how do I use it. And we're seeing in the community people like you who can spend weeks building and then still haven't discovered some pretty key functionality. So that's what I'm focused on right now. How do we make it even easier to learn how you use Encore and make it more fun to learn how to use it, as well as iterate and work on finding the right words to explain it to you and to potential future people who might want to use it. Is a framework, is a backend engine, is it something else? Again, we're trying to sort of really change how you build software in a significant way. It's a very integrated way of looking at how you go from an idea to writing code to getting something out there in the world. And it doesn't really fit any of the existing models people might have, mental models. So we're really trying to figure out what are the right words to make it clearer. And obviously we would love your input. Tell me on Slack or tell me in the community pages or an email, how would you describe it to a friend? Hearing that is super interesting to me. And yeah, together we can make it easier to use and easier to discover. That's it.
Amazing. Next up, Dom.
Hi, my name's Dom. So I'm a founding engineer at Encore. I've been building backend systems at scale for a long time now. So when I discovered Encore, I fell in love with it instantly. That's how easy it made life, and started talking to Marcus and Andre, and here I am today. I've been working on a bunch of improvements at the moment. I'm introducing the concept of configuration natively into our APIs. That will be coming out hopefully soon. I've been improving how we display errors in the CLI, so you have a much nicer experience when errors do occur in your code, and hopefully one of the best sort of compiler error experiences you've ever had, if I've done my job right. And lastly, I've been working on our GoLand plugin, so you can run unit tests natively from within GoLand, and you can put breakpoints in and step through the code and all that other good stuff that you'll be used to natively with Go, which hasn't been possible with Encore up until now. So that is also now available. And that's me.
Cool. And next up is Simon.
Oh, yeah. Hello, I'm Simon. I've worked at Encore for now a bit more than 2 months. Before Encore, I was at Spotify. And my focus at Encore is UI front end mostly. And right now I'm working on combining our development dashboard with our web app dashboard. And if you want to learn more about that, I posted a topic on our community forums. I'm also looking into improving Encore Flow, which is quite a new feature that we released a few weeks ago. More on that in a few slides, I think. I'm also looking into sort of general UI and UX fixes. So if you encounter a bug or have a suggestion for a UI change, tag me on Slack. I would be happy to hear it.
Cool. And next is me. So yeah, my name's Bill. I work in developer relations at Encore. So my goal is around events like this, making sure that people can hear more about Encore, be able to build things with Encore more easily through examples, tutorials, all of that fun stuff. And also one of the other focus areas is around the Go Get It blog posts. So being able to highlight great Go plugins as well as other amazing stuff. Cool. So there was 2 people we missed out in the introductions. That was Luca and Stefan, but that's because they won't make it today. But in the next following sessions, when they're here, I'll let them introduce what they're working on as well and introduce themselves a little bit. All right, let's kick it off with some product updates. So first is Encore Flow. Simon, do you want to just share quickly a bit about Encore Flow?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, as it says here, Encore Flow is a feature that we recently released, and it's for automatically generating architectural diagrams. And it's available both in the development dashboard, but also on app.encore.dev. So if you look at the image here, you can see a snapshot of what Encore Flow looks like. So you have your different microservices represented here. In this case, we have 4 different services, and you could see at a glance how these services relate to each other. So the arrows indicate dependencies. You can also see how many and what type of endpoints you have for your services, if you have databases and cron jobs and so on. And if you use this in the development dashboard, it automatically updates in real time as you're developing. Yeah, we think this is a really powerful tool to have. You can imagine for a bigger system, it would be quite easy to see hot paths if you have a service that has a lot of other services depending on it. Also, onboarding someone new to a system, is having this at your disposal really makes that easier, sort of a snapshot of how your system looks right now. And we have big plans for this going forward as well, showing you possibly like your traffic in production, what services are being hit the most, and possibly showing alerts here as well. But yeah, because this is a new feature, we're very eager to hear how you guys are using it as well, and if you would like to see any additions or changes to Encore Flow. So hit us up on Slack. Would be really interesting to hear.
Cool.
And also, yeah, I posted a YouTube video quite recently showcasing this feature a bit more. So on our YouTube channel, you could check it out.
Nice. So let's flow into the next one and the caching API.
The caching API is Encore's native approach to handling caching. So for those who've not really used caching in a distributed system before, it's for effectively a high-speed storage of fully optimized computed values that may be very slow to compute initially or query your database for, or you have to go to a remote source for. And so caching allows you to speed up responses in the future for the same request of that data. We've built our APIs to give you most of the flexibility of all the different clouds that Encore supports. So we support caching in Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and our own cloud environment. We built it on top of Redis, so you have all the same performance and functionality that Redis would normally give you, but we've done it with our little bit of Encore magic, so you don't have to think about it too hard, and you just get caching. So it's a fantastic new API available now.
Cool. Next is config.
Config is coming soon, as it says. I don't want to put a date on that, but as the team will tell you, I've been saying soon for a little bit now, and soon hopefully does mean soon. Config is one of those things when you have distributed systems that starts becoming more important, not less important, as the system scales. And up to now, we haven't had a native API for handling config. We've had plenty of examples of how to use config, but not something which has got that sort of Encore magic and experience involved with it. So our hope is with this new config API, it makes it very easy to get started using config and gives you a bunch of flexibility that you wouldn't normally get for free. We're going to give you the ability to override config in specific unit tests. So tests running in parallel will see different values for config, which is a really powerful capability that I've not seen in any of the systems I've worked in before. And we have some really cool ideas of how we can improve config in the future that we're not quite ready to announce yet. But this will be the first version coming soon.
Amazing. And then last but not least of the product announcements, the GoLand plugin.
Cool. I guess it's me again. So GoLand Plugin is something that we've been wanting for a while, and we've managed to get started now. It's available right now in both IntelliJ and GoLand. If you just go to the plugin section and search for Encore, you'll find it. It primarily gives you, as I said earlier, the ability to run unit tests in Encore apps within the IDE and with full debug and breakpoint support as you'll be used to. We've also put in a live template, so you can type new API and then hit tab, and it will autofill an entire API's parameters, responses, and like the skeleton of the API itself. We want to, this is just a starting point for it. We want to add sort of auto completion and syntax highlighting for sort of the Encore specific comment decorators that we use for declaring APIs. We want to get more functionality in there in terms of like automatic linking to your local development database. We have a lot of ideas of how we can improve it, but I'd love to hear from you what you feel like you're missing when you're developing in UI that we can help and improve on. Like Encore itself, the GoLand plugin is fully open source. So if you just go to our GitHub pages, you can also contribute to the plugin directly.
Cool. So yeah, as mentioned, that is available. It was mentioned coming soon here, but it's actually available if you search Encore on the marketplace. Cool. So yeah, then that's it for our product updates for this week. But we have a few content and community updates that we'd love to share as well. So first is obviously Hacktoberfest. So it is October. We're 1 week into October. And yes, Hacktoberfest is in place. If you are new to Hacktoberfest, you can go to Hacktoberfest website, log in, or sorry, connect your GitHub account and it'll create an account for you. Then it'll start tracking your PRs. And once you hit 4 kind of eligible PRs, they call them, they will then send you a Hacktoberfest reward kit, which usually is a t-shirt with this logo. Highly recommend that. And obviously when you submit at least one Encore PR, you can fill out a form that's on our community forums that allows you to get some Encore stickers as well. So lots of swag in Swagtober or Hacktober. And we have plenty of issues that need solving. We're constantly adding more all the time. We have example apps. We have issues in the main Encore repo as well. So there's lots to get stuck in. Cool. So then the next one is the Encore Community Forums. They've been around for about a month now, and they're still like constantly growing. We're constantly getting new people asking questions, contributing stuff. We're going to have the notes after this office hours on the forums as well. So it's the best place to get up to date with everything that we're up to, and all the announcements today will be there as well. So definitely highly recommend checking it out. And you can also log in with your Encore account as well. So it's very seamless. And then, yeah, we've created a new example app as well that was mentioned earlier. This was the one that was released last week. This is around building an incident management tool, similar to kind of Duty, Incident.io. And yeah, it basically allows you to go from 0 to writing all the kind of services needed in 1 hour, either through the video, or if you want to just copy paste 30 minutes, or if you want to clone the repo, 30 seconds. So it depends on how much time you have to commit. Next, we have a blog post that was written by our very own Stefan. And this kind of covers the crazy system that we have, which is around cloud infra provisioning and all the different components that will lead into that. We've posted kind of graphs on our Twitter. And we've also written this amazing blog post that kind of covers some of the details and some of the challenges that come along with the system like this. So I highly recommend checking it out when you get the chance. We have spent time modernizing one of the most popular pages on the Encore website, which is the Go modules cheat sheet written by Andre. And yeah, it looks and feels more Encore with the new branding. Yeah, highly recommend you check that out as well, especially if you're new to Go. Cool. So that's all the community and product updates. So one of the things we wanted to do is there's loads of people that kind of contribute towards Encore all the time, and we've never really had a space to really shout them out. So we wanted to take this place, pick all the people that we think have provided some value to Encore and really recognize them as people who are helping really make this amazing product reach more people and be a better experience for everyone. So we basically got a list of all these people: Mrinal, Brian, David, and Bogdan. Amazing work with all your suggestions. They're all like of various sizes. Some are like actual code contributions, some are comments on Slack, but nonetheless, they're all questions and contributions that we either haven't thought of or we haven't had the time to do. So ultimately, it's making a better experience for everyone. And for that, we are grateful, but also everyone else who's using Encore is incredibly grateful too. So thank you so much. And with that, we have some time for some Q&A. And yeah, I don't think we have any questions this time around, but what we can do is we can start answering a few of these questions we popped here as well. And yeah, hopefully next week we'll start to ask people throughout the week if they have any questions they want to ask and start highlighting them, questions throughout the week rather than just in this session alone. I'm going to ask this question to everyone and see what everyone's responses are, which is what resources are good for new Go developers? Anyone got any answers for this?
I'd say funny enough, the Go tutorial on their website is really good. If you follow that, you end up running a web scraper, which is not a simple piece of software. It's not super complex, but it also shows you how powerful Go standard library is, that you can write that without really knowing anything about the language beforehand. Another one is Go by Example, is a great little website for learning some of the intricacies of Go. So those are my 2 suggestions.
And there's also, I want to plug a friend of Encore's who's given us some great feedback in the past. Elliot Forbes runs a course website with lots of Go content that's really getting a lot of traction and lots of rave reviews, called Tutorials Edge, which you can check out. And there's pretty sort of good video courses and examples that you can follow along to sort of upskill in Go and many other languages as well.
Cool. One resource I've found pretty useful is playwithgo.dev, which I think is maintained by one of the Q community members as well. Yeah, that's also been a great resource as well. Simon, anything from your side?
Yeah, I have one. I'm gonna go old school and recommend a book that I like, which is just called the Go programming language. And it's even a few years old now, so it doesn't cover generics, but I like books.
The Go programming language sounds like there's many books that are going to be called the Go programming language.
Yeah,
We
but
might
this
need to
was,
list the author as well.
yeah, what is he called? Alan Donovan and Brian, yeah, something.
Alan and Brian.
Cool. Yeah, I guess we can do one more question and then we can wrap up unless anyone else has any additional questions. And I would say, what will Encore support multi-cloud in the future? I guess this would probably be a question for the rest of the team.
Short answer,
Absolutely.
yes. Longer
All right.
answer, depends on what you mean with multi-cloud. It already does to some extent. You can deploy your applications to multiple clouds. So I suppose already today. So I suppose this is if you want a more hybrid setup, perhaps, which is coming soon.
Okay. And I guess that kind of is the blog post that Stefan wrote earlier as well. That kind of leads into some of the early work there. Definitely recommend reading that as well. Cool. All right. Anything else before we wrap up? Any other questions? Any comments? Nope. Cool. All right. Yeah, this is great. We managed to cover a lot of amazing updates. And yeah, we're looking forward to hosting more sessions in the future and have more community participation as well. I know this was quite a long presentation, but the goal is over time to make it more of a discussion, get some great opportunity to chat with the amazing community that we have. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See everyone.